why Californians are fleeing to Mexico. Curious to see why this is happening. Before we do get into this, appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button. Let's see why Californians are moving to Mexico.
In 2021, over 360,000 people left California in what many are calling the California Exodus, leaving for states like Texas, Arizona, and Washington. But a rising number of them are migrating out of the country altogether and instead heading south of the border.
Wait, how comes? I understand if they're leaving California to like other states and stuff, maybe because California's getting a little bit too expensive and whatnot. But why are they going to Mexico?
Today, more and more Americans are leaving the hustle and bustle of California for a relaxed, more affordable lifestyle in Mexico.
Oh, really?
We were able to cut our budget in half, which allowed us to really focus on our careers and the things we wanted to do artistically without having to just like hustle and hustle and hustle every day, every week, every month to just meet the bare minimum.
California's population growth has been declining.
Yeah, but listen, if it's for like cost of living and stuff like that, can't they find states that's a lot cheaper cost of living and still be in America?
For over 30 years now. But thanks to the rise in remote work due to the COVID-19 pandemic, those trends have accelerated. The ability to work anywhere has 62% of Americans considering moving to a new country.
What's the options, right? What, Kansas, you know, Utah, whatever. I mean, really, it's the options aren't that great. I mean, especially if you're from California.
And while some Californians
ain't gonna lie, it sounds great to me. I'll take up anywhere in America.
Are able to make the move by working remotely. Others are living in Mexico, but still commuting to work daily in California.
There's a lot of people commuting who actually live in Mexico, who actually work in the States. So
Joe, I do get that Mexico is very, very close to California, so like fair enough. But like, how they commuting? By train, by car, by crossing the border, by plane? Like what?
It's thousands and thousands of people just crossing daily. It's a lot of people.
However, many critics argue that Americans are driving up the cost of housing for locals and pricing them out of the market. So just how long will this migration trend last? And what are the consequences?
Oh wow, I actually didn't know this was happening. This is interesting.
When it comes to US-Mexico migration, most Mexicans move to the US to improve their lives economically. But a lesser known fact is that historically, Americans have flocked to Mexico for the same reason. After Mexico won its independence from Spain in 1821, thousands of legal and illegal American immigrants settled into northern Mexico in search of land, trade, and agricultural opportunity. And when Mexico abolished slavery in 1829, a few routes of the Underground Railroad ran south into Mexican Texas. It's estimated that about 5,000 to 10,000 slaves escaped into Mexico. By the mid-1840s, Americans outnumbered Mexican Californios in the northern part of Alta California, which was Mexican territory at the time. Shortly after, the California Gold Rush began, and 30,000 people from all over the world poured into California in search of treasures.
Yo, was that the start of pretty much California? Like people flocking to California was the gold rush?
Just days after the California Gold Rush began, the Mexican-American War ended, giving California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Colorado, Nevada, and Utah to the US.
Yo, do you know what I find crazy about America and the Mexico War? You know how like Mexico gave them these lands, like America? Bro, I find it wild, absolutely wild, that America took New Mexico from Mexico and then called it New Mexico. Bro, that is... Like, I know America has New England. Wait, hold up. Did you guys take New England from us? I know you had, like, the revolution and stuff like that, but... Oh, wait. Might be the same thing, bro. Oh, okay. Cheers. Bro, the disrespect. But no, this is crazy to me. Like, you like, Mexico literally gave... you New Mexico, and you called it New Mexico, man.
And Utah to the US. It wasn't until 1924 that the US Border Patrol was created. And since then, millions of Americans have visited, vacationed, and relocated to Mexico.
I've just realized that you guys literally have a place called New England. Damn. Now I feel relevant in England. I'm in old England.
As of 2020, 800,000 Americans are living in Mexico.
What?
These migrants can be divided into 3 categories: retirees, working professionals, and the biggest share of the population, the Mexican Americans returning to their roots.
Okay.
There's also a parallel migration, of course, from U.S. citizen children that are being returned or that are returning to Mexico with their parents, who many of them are Mexican citizens and are being either repatriated or deported to Mexico as well. These U.S. citizens make up about 2/3 of the U.S. immigrant population in Mexico, and so therefore their futures and the children growing up and integrating into Mexican society is an important factor.
The rising migration of U.S. citizens is giving way to increasing investments and development, which in turn creates opportunity for more Americans to make the move.
Yo, I genuinely didn't think that this was a thing, bro. Like, I know a lot of people was like trying to cross the border from Mexico to America. But then I thought the only reason why Americans will go to Mexico is if they're escaping the law, bro. You know what I mean? I never knew that they was doing it for like just to better opportunity and better. It does make sense, like if it's in California and you can commute there and it's a lot cheaper, then fair enough. But
the rising cost of living is perhaps one of the biggest drivers behind this phenomenon.
Yeah,
California ranks number 2 in the country's most expensive states to live in, according to a study by Credit Karma.
For our 1-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood, we were paying $1,600 a month, and that was just for the rent alone. And there we had a car, so that included car insurance and car payment and all of those kinds of things that you have to pay for. And so just the rent alone, we're paying half of that.
We moved in November of 2020, so it was still kind of like in the thick of COVID-19 and the pandemic before the vaccines. So our rent is about $850 a month, which includes 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a music studio for David. We have a pool and a clubhouse area, 24-hour security with a guard at a gate.
Wait, this is it for $800 a month?
Going from a 1-bedroom where we were like on top of each other to having different spaces to work has been like life-changing.
And to do that half of the...
Hey Siri, book me a ticket to Mexico right now.
Okay, I found this on the web for book me a ticket to Mexico right now.
There we go, one way, £200.
Price was mind-blowing.
Yo, real estate in California is getting more expensive and more competitive. The median price for a home in California is about $800,000. Only 25% of California households could afford that in the fourth quarter of 2021.
Here in Baja,
that's the average for a house, 800k. 800k in the UK, you're getting top range of the house. Average in the UK is probably like 280, 300 maybe, average.
We offer a more affordable alternative, bigger prices, and what
that is California.
California's
hella expensive.
Tend to say is that we have a better quality of life. You know, there's no traffic, there's sunny days, there's beautiful beaches.
Unlike the jobs in California, Mexico's wages are low and labor is cheap.
Right.
The minimum wage in California is $15 per hour, while the minimum wage in the majority of Mexico is 172 pesos per day, which is equivalent to about $8. For comparison, 1 hour of working in California is equivalent to almost 2 whole work days in Mexico.
Yeah, this is why I feel like if you're an American moving to Mexico, you do it on the basis you're commuting to America, right? Because that's wild wage comparison right there.
And we do want to say, like, we understand how lucky and fortunate we are to be able to earn in dollars and spend in pesos. So we do recognize that that's like an incredible privilege, and we feel super grateful to be here and to be able to do that.
Healthcare is another important factor that many consider when moving to Mexico. The US spends much more on healthcare than any other country in the world.
Wow.
But one study showed that overall, its performance and quality ranks last among the highest income countries.
Oh, really?
You know, I got dental work and stuff like that. I mean, Mexico's responsible for saving my teeth.
I went to an allergist in LA and was told I did not have enough money to afford the allergy shots that I actually needed. And that was one of the first appointments I made in Mexico was with an allergist and a dermatologist. And not only can I afford allergy shots here, but like my allergist coordinates with the dermatologist who coordinates with our primary care physician.
Yeah, I had to get hard contacts and braces. I felt very cared for, and it was very easy to access these kinds of things that I know I could not get the contacts that I needed because they were so expensive in the States, and we thankfully were able to do that here.
Since the pandemic, migration trends to Mexico have accelerated. COVID-19 has made remote work the new normal.
That is true. A lot of people now, way more than before COVID, are working like from home and stuff like that.
Prompting many to move out of big cities and into more affordable ones.
The pandemic really changed the dynamic, but because folks suddenly, you know, the cost of taxes in the U.S., the crime rates, the politics, all the things that people are unhappy with in California are wanting to come down to Mexico and suddenly realizing, gee, I can, you know, as long as I got good internet, I can come to Mexico and live in a condo and stare at the ocean.
But yo, like, you guys need to tell me in the comments. They could find good places to live in America, similar. Like, I know there's very, very, very cheap places in America. Very, very cheap places in America. And you're still in America. You know what I mean? Instead of moving to Mexico.
And take care of my work and enjoy a different lifestyle.
And you said crime. You mentioned crime in America. I'm not being funny, mate. But Mexico has the cartel. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. I don't live on that side of the planet. But when I think about crime and I'm going to judge it with America and Mexico, I'm probably going to be more scared of being in Mexico than America. You know what I mean? For crime.
This is the US-Mexico border in Tijuana. Every day, about 200,000 people commute between the two countries. Many of them work in California and live just below the border in Baja California due to its proximity. Take Tony Smith, for example. She works in San Diego, but lives 9 miles away in Tijuana.
I still work in the States. I'm a coach over at a community college, and all of my business is in the States. So I commute daily, back and forth.
The wait to get through the border ranges.
To be fair, 9 miles is not far at all. Like 9 miles, that's easy commute.
It's from a few minutes to a few hours. To avoid the longer wait times during rush hour, Tony drops her car off in a parking structure by the border and walks the rest of the way.
On days that are not heavy traffic, I'll drive. And then days where it's really like hectic. Like,
oh hell no. If you're no. Screw commuting, bro. If you're telling me I'm in that traffic commuting, no. In no way, bro. In no way. Nothing's worth that. Nothing is worth that.
The average, like Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, those are the busy days.
Nothing's worth that.
I will leave my car and I'll just walk.
It's
easy getting into Mexico. It's just the difficult part, getting out of Mexico, which can take hours. But I learned if I can just commute by foot, it drops my commute time at least.
Yo, what does you mean commute by foot? Like, they still got to do like border check, right? Unless she's on about jumping the fence and legging it. Like, bro, what does you mean commute by foot?
If I can just commute by foot, it drops my commute time at least by 2 hours.
Real estate agents in Baja California are also seeing an increase in people looking to buy property who don't necessarily want permanent residency in Mexico.
I would say at least half are probably coming down from California. There's a lot of folks that have second homes down here, vacation homes and or rental properties down here that come from Southern California.
Critics of this migration trend say that Americans are buying or renting property in Mexico at a premium and pricing locals out of the market.
certain neighborhoods are now becoming too expensive for Mexican citizens to live in, because most of the times people that are actually buying these property developments or buying even, say, an apartment are being able to do so because they either make money in US dollars or because they're working remotely.
For those on temporary visas, working remotely allows them to continue paying their taxes to the US without paying any to Mexico. And there are some parts of Mexico known as the Taurus Libre Zone, where
Wait, yeah, I'm sure, like, you know how to say that they're not paying the taxes to America, they're paying it, I mean, what did it say? Hold up.
Allows them to continue paying their taxes to the US without paying any to Mexico.
Right, okay, yeah, I get that, but if they're living in Mexico, can't Mexico give them, like, some sort of, like, living tax or something? Like in the UK, you gotta pay council tax, and that's for living in the house in the UK. It's like every month you just pay for living in that area, right? So it's not too much, but you know.
And there are some parts of Mexico known as the Taurus Libre Zone, where visas go unchecked, under the radar. The idea is that Americans who spend their money in Mexico are still contributing to the country's economic growth.
Right, it's just a dog-eat-dog world. And I get why a lot of Mexicans, you know, they want better for their families. So they're trying to get across the border to America, while the Americans are doing the total opposite.
Yeah,
I feel as though like the money that we're bringing in can definitely help build better roads. We're just definitely helping the economy by just bringing.
Listen, I don't understand this that much when it comes to, you know, economics and stuff like that, right? But in my little brain, bro, I'm thinking if so many people are going to Mexico from America and bringing, you know, good money, yeah? I feel like that would better off Mexico, especially the parts that they're living in. Because they're going to be spending money there, boosting it up more, and then eventually it's just going to build up and build up and build up and, you know what I mean, get better. Like, that, you'd think that, right?
Bringing in the dollars so that they can put it into, you know, whatever it is that they want to put it into.
It's super important to us to mitigate our economic impact wherever we go, and we try to do that by highlighting local groups and services,
like even ordering food and stuff like that, they're helping the local businesses, you know what I mean?
Businesses. Try to do that by highlighting local groups and services, small businesses, and we're super conscious of where we spend our money.
Some argue the communities where Americans are moving to are not the same as the ones where locals reside. Those areas have less crime, are more expensive, and tend to be closer to beaches and other tourist attractions.
The foreigners or the Americans are only going to live in certain places, and these places are primarily targeted towards Americans. The local Tijuana people are not going to live in these places. Right. Like there's high-rise buildings and stuff like that. The apartment I had last time that had a full desk set up for remote working, office chair, everything. This was not something set up for a Mexican family. This was something set up to target foreigners to come over and work remotely.
Right, okay, I got you. It's like a small piece of Mexico that is like very American.
While American dollars have contributed to recent developments in Mexico, there are some setbacks to the rapid expansion. Supply chain issues are rising as demand beats out supply.
It's making development increase, certainly, but it's also making development be less accessible to some of their most needed areas. Like in California, for example, where we have really a shortage of housing, which has actually led to the significant increase in prices in California, there's a similar bubble of lack of new construction in Mexico. And when that construction is focused on unattainable incomes for Mexican citizens, you're in some ways perpetuating the same bubble that we're seeing in California for housing, but now in Mexico as well.
Interesting.
In order to combat the number of low-income Californians leaving the state, affordable housing developments are beginning to make headway. In September of 2021, California's governor signed a series of bills to complement the California Comeback Plan, which invests $22 billion in affordable housing and homelessness.
Oh, wow.
The wealthy are leaving California too. Some fear that mass departures by the state's billionaires and tech companies could reduce local and state tax revenues. Just 1% of California's top income earners are responsible for half of all income tax revenue. Those drops could have the potential to affect government services for years to come. And in Baja California, recent spikes in housing demand could cause the country to run out of supply.
I've talked to a lot of agents down here and folks that have been in this industry, 20 years or more. And a lot of them are all saying, this is the first time in the last 20 years that people are really significantly worried about our lack of inventory down here. There's a lot more things being built and trying to come up with things to sell to people.
As Mexico sees an influx of immigrants and increasing housing prices, there are mixed opinions about the future of current U.S.-Mexico migration trends.
But at the same time, it's bringing...
Yo, it's actually crazy. I never knew this actually was a thing. Because I obviously see like America being so good to live in. I actually didn't think I'd be watching a video where people were actually leaving America and going to Mexico. But it is mainly then to commute to America.
Opening up new businesses is driving money into Mexico. It's, it's creating tourism and money for small businesses. People are still going to be wanting to come down here more than ever. And I don't see prices going down anytime soon.
A good amount of people that actually go and do this, try this, do return home within 90 days. Maybe your boss don't like this. Maybe your car registration don't like this. There is problems that exist for doing this.
Okay.
So the turnover rate for this is pretty quick.
For now, Californians are continuing to leave the state, and Mexico is welcoming them with open arms.
Oh, damn. Interesting. I see a lot of videos where it talks about California being very expensive to live. A lot of you guys do live in California. You tell me it is very expensive to live as well. Very interesting that people actually move into Mexico and then commute into California. That's mad. Good video. Enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Especially if you live in California as well. Let me know. Let me know how it is. If you guys enjoy, make sure you thumbs up, subscribe for more content. Live every single day on twitch.tv/L3WG. If you guys want to check me out over there, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.